And Philadelphia has it.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to DSM Pregame Live. Philadelphia 76ers get set to take on the Washington Wizards. Streaming to you exclusively here on DSM Media's YouTube channel. You guys know the drill. If you're new to the channel, make sure you check us out on Twitter first at DSM_media. Hit that follow button. We greatly appreciate it. But while you're on the page, make sure to check out the link in our bio to take you to every platform we are available on. If you want to be a part of these great, fun experiences for the pregame show, Eagles, Sixers, and Phillies when they start back up, make sure you are subscribed and have your notifications turned on for the DSM YouTube channel. I am one half of your host, Dylan Davis. You can find me on Twitter at DylanJD98. To my right, my co-host Scotty. Make sure you check him out on Twitter as well at Scotty Drown. The Sixers come away with a big win in Madison Square Garden on Christmas Day over the Knicks to make it 8 in a row. They look to make it 9 tonight. Scotty, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. Aside from the allergies, got me all stuffed up here. If my voice sounds weird, I'm sorry. So just to get ahead of that.
No sweat.
But aside from that, man, I'm feeling good coming off the holiday weekend. Had off work yesterday, so I'm feeling refreshed. But yeah, the Sixers, speaking of refreshed, they're refreshing to watch right now. And just like Chili said down there, ball movement has been going crazy. It looks like they know how to play basketball, Chili. Like they're playing some good quality organized basketball there of late, obviously with the big win streak. So nothing but excitement for me around the Sixers. Embiid, the way he's playing, MVP caliber. I know you and Phil talked about that earlier this morning on the show. You know, I'm kind of over it. I really don't care.
There's not much discussion to really have about it. Yeah,
it's kind of
we
like
learned that lesson last year.
It's kind of like the Eagles. You know, you beg for credit the whole season. It's like, who cares? I don't even need it from you. I just need to win games and win. And do
I don't need validation from you, right?
Yeah, I'm sitting here seeking validation that we don't even need it, man. And hopefully Embiid's not worried about it. Doesn't seem like he is. And Harden, man, he's playing out of his mind too. I know we're gonna get into all of it. But shout out to our 2 stars, man. They're looking like our 2 stars, right? So
yeah,
it's been fun to watch. Yeah, and Tobias and Mellon. Yeah, shout out to everybody. But we'll obviously.
I was just going to say that. So let's start there on Christmas Day. Like I said, the Sixers make it 8 in a row in the Garden, taking down the Knicks. They were trailing a majority of this game. The entire first half, they were down. They were down as much as 14 or 15 early in the second quarter. Joel Embiid off to a slow start. But listen, man, we've been on this show, on the pregame show for the last couple of weeks here, ever since this winning streak kind of started. And it's been fun. It's been a breath of fresh air to finally start to string a pile of wins together. But now it's starting to feel real. You get the Friday night win to start off the weekend against the Clippers at home. You know that's the end of your 7-game road stand. Home stand. You go on the road. You battle through adversity against the Knicks, and you come away with that win. And they've been playing extremely well as well, being the New York Knicks.
Yep.
Now it's starting to feel real, and it starts with the 2 guys you mentioned, and I'll even take it a step further. Joel Embiid has been putting on a masterclass all season, outside the first 2 or 3 weeks. James Harden is starting to turn back the clock a little bit. You see a couple threes pulled from almost the logo, right? The assist totals are still skyrocketing. He's beating dudes off the dribble, finishing at the bucket, right? James Harden is looking like vintage James Harden right now, and that's been the major difference. And to Chili's point, when you're seeing the off-ball movement by Tobias Harris, the catch and shoot, D'Anthony Melton's, Brock Landis, our boy, shout out Brock, he did a great breakdown of D-Melt and James Harden playing together. They're running a 2-man game between the 2 of them, and normally a screener is a big body. They're using Mellon in this situation with Harden, and it's just been really fun to watch, man. So that's kind of where I'm at. It's starting to feel real. It starts with the 2 stars, but more specifically for me, I think James Harden has been the difference maker over the last 2 or 3 games.
Yeah, I think you're on point to feel that way, because if you look at the way everything's starting to shape out, it's starting to get real in the Eastern Conference, and it feels like the Sixers are kind of hopping on this wave right at the right time. You got the Nets getting hot; they just took down Cleveland last night. They've won several games in a row. They've amped themselves up into a top 10 defensive team since Jacques Vaughn took over. So you're seeing the Eastern Conference separate itself right now. And Christmas Day was kind of a glowing example of that in a game where the Sixers really came out, started slow, man. The Knicks had their number to start the game. It looked like the noon start may have gotten to the Sixers a little bit. They had to wake up a little bit there. But as soon as they woke up in that second half, they were able to take control of that game and had control throughout the end of it, the fourth quarter majority.
Whole fourth quarter, yeah.
Obviously, they were celebrating a little preemptively, I would say, around the 6 minute mark. I vibe with it. Just after that, you can't go 0 for it and let it get down to like 7-point victory. But don't get me wrong. I love the confidence. I love the chemistry nonetheless.
I was going to bring that point up next. And it's something you saw Friday against LA, and you saw it again in the Garden once they pulled away and got up to 14-16. The energy is extremely high within this clubhouse at the moment. When you see, I know they took it away a couple games ago, but when Tobias hits that corner three, and they called PJ Tucker for an offensive foul, and Bede and Niang are pounding hard, are pounding his chest, right? Harden hits a three from the logo. He's going nuts, and Bede's going nuts with him. Niang hits. That's what I've been waiting for, man. And it just doesn't it feel like, and we're still not even fully healthy because Tyrese Maxey has not returned yet from injury. But doesn't this feel like what you envisioned when this new roster was put together, when you had another offseason with Harden and Embiid together, Tobias in his new role? This is the product I envisioned personally with the Sixers team.
Yeah, man, I think it's a great point, and I think it's a great time to look back at kind of what me and you have been saying the last few months since the season has started, man, is that there's a lot of new additions. Even the Harden and Embiid pairing is new in a sense. Like, yeah, they played last year throughout the postseason towards the end of the regular season, but you know that wasn't even a full dose of 82 games together, right? Like a full season. So like that's still new. You add PJ Tucker, you add DeAnthony Melton, you add Daniel House, Montrezl Harrell. All of these new additions. You got Tobias trying to fit into a new role. Tyrese Maxey reaching a new level of stardom, right? Harden figuring it out with Embiid. It takes time to build that stuff. And then you throw in the wrench of injuries in the mix of all of that. And it takes a little bit more time. And that's why we were saying, remain patient, right? Like, it would have been a blessing to come out and the Sixers knock down the door in Boston and beat them on opening night, right? Like that would have been exhilarating, and we would have probably been a little ahead of schedule in reality. That's not going to happen against a team that went to the NBA Finals, won the Eastern Conference Finals last year. We just added all these new pieces trying to figure it out. That just doesn't happen very often. So to see them coming into fruition, it makes me feel good about my analyzation, because I know me and you, we thought this team, and we still do at this point, obviously it's coming into fruition now, could be an Eastern Conference contender. And they look the part now, right? They're getting into that groove. It's still not even as good as they can be, right? But they're on the right trajectory. And that's what we've been talking about. Building winning tendencies, the ball movement, all the playing with energy every single night, no matter the opponent. Those are all winning tendencies that we're building. And you just got to give it a little time sometimes, man.
They're playing winning basketball, and they're playing team basketball at the moment. You go back to this comment right here. Team basketball at its finest. Ball movement. It does not, late in that game yesterday, dude, that whole comeback, that whole getting up 16 when they were down 14 at one point, that wasn't get the ball to Joel and let him go to work. So James played a role. Tobias played a role. Melton knocked down a couple threes. Niang knocked down 2 threes in the fourth. Like, so many guys contributed, and that's, like I said, the product you envision, because the same old get the ball to Joel, the same old let James hit a step back three is the reason you were a second round exit and have been for the last couple of seasons. This is what I want to continue to see going forward. And this comment right here, number 2 in defense. That's probably a little ahead of schedule as well, no? With all the new pieces being put together on this unit?
Ahead of schedule. Yeah, I guess you could say that, as far as just, being a number 2 defensive team. That's a big accomplishment early on in the season, especially with the new pieces. But like with Embiid and the guys they have around him, I mean, it's not hard to believe. And The thing about the number 14 offense, man, is I was actually listening to JJ Redick's podcast, a little snippet actually. He did like a little piece because JJ was the one commentating on that
Right.
Sixers game on Sunday, and he was talking about why he's bullish on the Harden and the Sixers right now, and it's because Tommy, his co-host, actually pointed this out. They're actually 4th on offensive rating since Harden's return. So they are top 5 in each category since Harden's return. Now, obviously, you need to see it over a long-standing time. You need to see Maxey back in the mix, but the trajectory is trending that way, right? So, yeah, easily get in the top 10. We're on our way to that right now. So it's exciting. It's exciting to think about. And it's the ball movement. It's the fluidity, right? It keeps everybody active. It keeps everybody attentive because that's so much of just like what you were talking about in the playoffs. Stand around and watch Harden dribble. Everybody looking at him watching, not even moving around, not getting into spots. It's not like that right now. Everybody's moving around. The ball's fluid. It gets flung from one side of the court to the other. Then it goes to Embiid for a post up and a quick bucket. You notice a lot of, if not all of Embiid's shots are very easy, right? Everything from Harden is super easy. So yeah, it's beautiful right now, man. What you got?
No, it's what we talked about like during the Rockets game, if you recall on that pregame show, and I talked to you with Harden's return, how difficult they were making the 2-man game between themselves look, and they shouldn't. They're going to be 2 top 75 players, the most dominant center in the game right now with this playmaker and scoring Harden. It shouldn't be that difficult, and now you use the word easy and Joel's work. Because it is easy. It's looking easy because it's supposed to be easier on him and on themselves. And you bring up the other thing, the fun in the half court and everybody else contributing. It goes back again to what we mentioned a few weeks back. You know, when these bench guys were stepping up in the absence of Embiid and Harden, and it's like they come back and, I hope I don't see D'Anthony Melton stand in the corner or Tobias Harris stay in the corner because they don't trust that they're going to get the ball back. I promise you right now, George Niang, D'Anthony Melton, they're trusting that they're going to get the ball back and have a chance to make plays and help their team out right now. And that's the biggest thing. The 2-man is completely unlocked with the passing out of it. It looks so easy. 40 in his sleep. Dude, it's becoming regular at this point. Regular.
Yeah, literally.
And I guess this is the last thing I want to bring up before we get into tonight's Wizards matchup to figure out how they can make it 9 in a row. It's the question that's swirling Twitter and social media right now. How should the Sixers work Maxey back in? Do you throw him directly back in the starting lineup, or do you let him come off the bench for a little and work his way back? I believe he is going to come off the bench at first. Like, that's already a part of Doc Rivers' plan. He's on a minute restriction. That's how they're going to work him back in. But then you have the crowd of people right now, and I don't know Abe or Chile's thoughts on this. And I think I know you're Scotty, on what to do when he's ready to be back 100%. There's a crowd that wants to run the Tyrese off the bench experiment again. And I know in theory, it sounds cool, right? And it sounds explosive to have this guy off the bench. He's your 3rd best player, and at times is your 2nd best player if James Harden's having an off night. He starts. There's no other way around it. Your 2nd or 3rd best player does not come off the bench. I'm sorry.
And that's where I'm at. And D'Anthony Melton's a hell of a player. He's great. I've called him the future with Maxey. Like, literally, if we could secure D'Anthony Melton, extend him, and lock up that backcourt
24 years old.
Future, that is what we absolutely should do. I'm very high on D'Anthony Melton, but in no way, shape, or form.
This is what I said the other night.
Maxey come off the bench because Melton's hot? Like, there's no way in the world that I'm working that way as a coach. Tyrese Maxey is your star. D'Anthony Melton, he has been a very good role player in this time, right? I'm not doing that, but I am with you there. Put the egos aside. We got to take the egos out. I know we talked about Tobias off the bench earlier this season, and I thought maybe that's an idea. The way he's fit into his role, I'm not going that way. I'm not going that route anymore. PJ is where I would go. He would come off the bench, guy off the bench.
This is the exact thought that I laid out. Tobias goes back to the 4. You're not playing that clogged up offense. The only pushback I have to my own and to Abe's thought here is how limited are you scoring off the bench now? Is Shake Milton going to keep his role coming off the bench and he's going to play 20 minutes a night and he's got to be that bucket getter? Can he do that consistently? Does George Niang have to play 22 minutes and be a sharpshooter? Because if you think of the drop off from Melton / Maxey, we're obviously leaning Melton as your sixth man, to PJ Tucker, who in like 30% of the games has a nice solid goose egg in the point column. You're sacrificing a lot point wise and scoring wise off the bench, but I love the idea of the 3-guard lineup. They're quicker, the tempo, Harden with those guys. I just think it would be a lot of fun, and I'm sure Doc can experiment with it.
Yeah, that's the thing, and I know everybody likes stability, and you want things to look the same every time the Sixers step on the floor, but the simple truth is that good teams don't look the same every time they step on the court. They have to adjust to the teams that they're playing against. And I think in those moments where you can afford to go small ball, which you're kind of going small ball anyways with PJ and Tobias, right? Small ball, but not small ball because there's 2 power forwards, but they're both undersized
power forwards.
Yes, it's really weird in that sense, but I don't know, man. I just think of it as there's some games you could put PJ in the starting lineup and put DeAnthony Melton as the first guy off the bench, and then vice versa. I think that I don't know what that was. Did you hear that?
No.
Oh wow, I don't know. My AirPods just died. I don't know.
Nice.
All right, I heard like a random tune of music. Like I don't know what just happened there, but whatever. What I was trying to say is there is a world where you can alternate your starting lineup just go at one spot in the starting lineup based on who you're playing and what you're going up against.
And I think down the road in the postseason that should really come into effect.
Yeah, absolutely, because that's what you got. That's what you brought PJ in
it's
for.
so matchup based, right? Like if you're playing, I don't know. Let's throw out a team. Let's say. What's a good fit? The Celtics or the Nets, maybe where PJ and Tobias and Joel on the floor together isn't a great look against these guards, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's where you start the Melton with the 3-guard lineup. Yeah. But if you're playing the Milwaukee Bucks, maybe that's a better matchup to have PJ starting, right? So we'll see if Doc has it in him. The last person I would like to shout out over this 8-game win streak is Mr. Doc Rivers, because while we want to criticize and throw all the blame on him when things are going south, when things are trending in a positive direction, yes, he does deserve some credit. Even when he throws out an all-bench lineup that makes me want to rip my hair out in the moment, over the last week or so, those bench lineups have actually bridged the gap and brought the Sixers team back into a couple situations in games. So he's pressing a decent amount of right buttons, man. So we'll see. But anyway, let's get into tonight's matchup against the Wizards. See how much energy we have, and this is the energy I need the Sixers to come out with tonight. So starting with keys to victory in the district, that is my first key. Play with intensity, play with a lot of energy. You said it to me before we started the stream. It's the Wizards, man, right? Like Bradley Beal, Kyle Kuzma, Chris Thompson. It's cool.
Sixers, that was a joke.
Yeah. Well, I could think that.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
Sixers can't think that. And I don't want them and I don't want Joel coming out and starting the game like they did in the Garden. I don't want Joel coming out and having 2 points and no rebounds and 2 turnovers and 0 for 2 from the free throw line in the first 8 minutes of the game. Yeah. Because what do we constantly say? When you're playing a lesser talented team, the longer you let them stick around, the more confidence they get and the harder they become to put away. So come out with that energy you ended in New York with, and you'll be able to get in front early. I promise you. It's kind of simple, Scotty. If you play with that type of energy, you will come out and gain a double-digit lead in the first quarter.
Yeah, no, I think it's very as simple as that. Starting strong, right? Starting with energy, and that's similar to my first key to victory that I have here as well. And it starts with rebounding effort, like we've done almost every show with this team as far as rebounding. But like you said on the morning show today with Phil, it's about energy, man. It's about wanting to hit the boards and wanting to be a better rebounding team. Even in that New York Knicks game, they get out rebounded 46-32 by the Knicks.
It's
You look
embarrassing, man.
it's embarrassing, right? That's what kept the Knicks in the lead. That's what kept them in the
19-3
game.
second chance points in the first
Yeah,
half.
and you see guys standing around in those moments. That's where you're like, come on, that's the last missing piece. It feels here, aside from obviously integrating Maxey, but just as far as what they're doing out there on the court, figuring that out. But figuring that out just starts with energy and effort and wanting to go and attack the glass and grab every single board that comes off there. I think that starts with Embiid too, right? I get he's locked in scoring. We don't want that to change. He's locked in on the defensive end. He helps. But we also need him to keep his eyes on the boards. I know a lot of that has to do with him being the anchor, having to go out there and defend guys on the perimeter from time to time. But the focus has to go to the rebound. I think they need to make a conscious effort to be better at rebounding, because ultimately that is going to cost them down the stretch, right? Against teams like Milwaukee with the bigger lineups, teams like Boston with guys like Robert Williams that can be annoying on the glass. So you look at Washington Wizards, they're 14th in rebounding. So even though they're not that great as far as an overall team, they are decent at rebounding. They're in the top half of the NBA. Philadelphia's 28th, obviously, towards the bottom. Just got to be better, got to bring that energy from the jump. Starts, just like you said, just starting strong, getting out to a good start. You can do that by one-shot possessions for the Wizards, right? No offensive boards, ending every possession with one shot on that side of the court, and you can get off to a great start on the other end as well, right?
Yeah, I'm interested to get your feedback on this second key of mine. So normally in a situation like this, and as well as he's playing on the offensive side of things, I would look at a Joel Embiid and Kristaps Porzingis matchup and say he can't guard him. Yeah. Right. So I want to work the ball to Joel. And I'm not saying to go away from that, but I'm looking at this Wizards team defensively. I'm looking at Monte Morris. I'm looking at Bradley Beal. I'm looking at Kyle Kuzma at your 4, right? Denny Avdia, if he's healthy tonight. I see a couple of mismatches across the floor, and I see a conductor of this offense right now that has his assist totals blown out of the water from any moment in his career. And I see an offense that is not running one 2-man game or 2 different 2-man games. He can run a 2-man game with any person in the starting 5. He's running it with Melton, he's running it with Joel, and he's running it with Tobias. Now, obviously, PJ, aside from that, you run it with those 3, attack the mismatches with the 2-man game. You can do so much in the screen and roll and get a switch at the top of the key to set up your possession. If it's Tobias on Denny Avdia, if it's Joel on, switched on to Kuzma, if it's D'Anthony Melton on Beal and he has size and length there, you can do so many different things. If Beal gets switched on to Harden, use the 2-man game to exploit the mismatches, because I promise you can pick them apart across the board defensively tonight with your size and shooting ability.
Yeah, no, second point of mine actually says work that 2-man. Now
there you go.
It was more focused on Embiid and Harden, but it falls along the same lines, the same concept, because the 2-man can be worked with anybody when you're talking about Harden, and it can be worked with anybody else on the team. We saw that with Anthony Melton, right? So just making everything easier for everybody. That's what Harden does, and that's what he's excelled at this season. He makes it easier for everybody, and when he makes it easier for everybody, makes it easy on himself. So he gets open looks off the open looks that he has guys, running the closeout on other guys. So it just all comes full circle when you work that 2-man. So I'm with you there. My third and final key to victory myself here. Strap up on the road, right? Yeah. This is a number 2 defensive team in the NBA. Like all ratings, right? Points, everything points to them being the number 2 defensive team in the NBA. Strap up on the road. Defense travels. Scoring, shooting, the hot shooting that they've been having, that doesn't always travel. You sometimes have off nights in road gyms especially, but the defense should always be there. That is a constant. That's about energy, like we talked about, effort, focus. That can be there everywhere. That doesn't matter if you're at home, on the road, whatever the case may be. That defensive effort, that defensive notion of the Sixers being
it'll set the tone, man.
Team. That sets the tone. That's exactly what I'm getting at there. Set the tone with your defense. It makes everything easier. We're coming full circle on everything. It all comes and feeds back into each other. But playing good defense, making that your force at the beginning, setting the tone with that, will ultimately open the offense up for you as well. It makes that easier as well. So that would be my third and final key to victory. against the Washington Wizards tonight. Strap up.
My final key here, and I love yours because defense does travel, right? And I'm gonna go back to that hot shooting that you've been talking about. Cash in, man. And what I mean by that is hit open shots.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the guy, Tobias Harris, George Niang, D'Anthony Melton, Shake Milton, because go back to Ben Simmons' era here in Philadelphia. And what did we love in the moment about Ben? His ability to what? Create and get guys open looks, and how much Seth Curry and Danny Green and JJ Redick loved playing with him because of how easy it was for them. You have that on another stratosphere right now with James Harden, with his ability to score. So the attention to detail and attention that he's going to draw offensively. So when you're working that 2-man game where George Niang can slip out of a screen and he's open by 15 feet on the wing, cash in those moments, because guess what, Scotty? 2 of the keys we laid out are exactly how you allow a bad team to hang in there and beat you. Energy/effort with rebounding and missing open shots. Because if you come out and shoot 2 for 15 from 3, 3 for 16 from 3, it's going to be a long night, because I promise you Washington's going to hit more than you. So cash in from Harden's ability to create open space for you. That's what I'm looking for tonight. And ultimately, these are all the things that I'm looking for to continue to progress into the postseason.
Yeah.
That's, you know me, I said it to you before the season started. Joel Embiid has only taken them so far. He is the catalyst. He is the MVP. He is the guy. James Harden is the difference maker, because you need that 1B to Joel's 1A.
Yeah.
So all the things that I'm looking for within the 2-man game, within the assist totals, within Harden 3-point shooting, I want to continue to see that progress, because I think he's the difference maker for them to make a deep playoff run. With that being said,
absolutely,
getting into our goal of the game, we just laid out 5-6 keys for you, right? It all comes down to one very simple thing: win the ball game. And I'm going to beat this horse until it's dead, until this win streak comes to an end. Just win the game. That's the goal. Yeah. You're at a point now where you've gotten 8. You're on the road for the next 2, and then you come back home Sunday or Monday, I believe. Just find a way to continue this win streak. I don't care if, it comes down to the wire. Would I love it? No. But at this point, the longer you extend this win streak and continue to build confidence within their locker room, there's no negative to come from it, right? Like if Joel has an off night and Washington hangs around, but the Sixers win by 7 or 4 or 5,
doesn't matter.
Am I going to be like, oh man, they let Washington? No, they just won 9 in a row. So just win the game is our goal tonight.
Yeah, when you're playing this well, you don't have to overthink it, but at the same time, you do have to remain focused. And that's all we're asking here. That's really all we're asking for: energy and focus, just as you've been doing throughout the win streak. We don't have to sit here and give you coaching etiquette and tell you what to do tonight, because you've been doing everything that you've needed to do in order to grab W's, and we just want you to continue that tonight. So that, I love the goal of the night. Get that 9th win, man, and let's get to 10, and then we can keep it. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but
especially with a game in New Orleans. Yeah, you got that game coming up, and I know as a Sixers team, you're not looking to Friday yet, or I would hope they're not looking to Friday yet, but you get this win out of the way, because now you got to go to New Orleans to battle for number 10. Yeah. Zion's back, and that team's playing at a very high level out in the West Coast right now. So we'll see if the Sixers can put themselves in a position for 10. Yeah. Scotty, how can they do that? What do we like tonight? It is your best bets segment of the night, brought to you by our friends over at Gents Barber Lounge and Luxton Jewelers. Scotty, Sixers, Wizards, best bets on this Tuesday night. Very simple for me, man. We're going back to the well with a couple different guys here, but they're playing at an extremely high level. I'm going to go to the top of the list, and I'm going to take James Harden over 2.5 threes at plus 110 on DraftKings Sportsbook. He's hit this total in every game since he's returned against the Houston Rockets, outside of 2. And his last 2 or 3, he has hit this total as well. He's taken about 7 to 9 threes per game. He should get the looks tonight. And he's shooting it at around a 40% clip, I believe, Scotty. So 3 threes for Harden tonight is our first bet. best bet, excuse me. Dropping down to the bottom of the list to combine these threes. Tobias Harris over 1.5 made threes at -150 on DraftKings. He was hitting this number for the entire month of December up until 2 or 3 games or so ago, and he has not hit this number since. He didn't have any last game. I think he had one the night before that and the one the game before that. So Tobias Harris, 2 made threes. I look for him to get his shooting streak back together in Washington tonight. And then finally, the guy that everyone's talking about, should he stay in the starting lineup? Should it be the 6-man? D'Anthony Melton over 4.5 rebounds plus money. Come on, man. What more can you ask for? I like him to get involved on the boards tonight. They're going to need everybody to crash the boards against a lesser talented team, against the 14th team on the glass. Don't let them get multiple second chances. D'Anthony Melton, 5 or more rebounds at plus 100.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely
love him. Absolutely love him. There's just a ton of plays with the Sixers right now because they're operating on all cylinders, right? So guys are hitting the marks that they're supposed to be hitting. So we've been trending upwards as far as best bets and everything we're laying here. But yeah, I specifically looking at Tobias and the 2 threes. I just always seem to see something there between him and Kuzma, like going at it. It's honestly like the perfect matchup because they're very similar players in my eyes. So I'm looking forward to seeing that matchup and seeing how they kind of go back and forth tonight. Because it seems like Kuzma always seems to play well against the Sixers. I don't know what it is. He generally seems to play well against us. So I'm looking forward to that matchup. I think Tobias kind of shows up and gets back on track, like you said there. And Harden's just balling right now. You can go Harden threes, you can go Harden points, you can go Harden assists. I mean, it's a little ridiculous right now. Same thing with Embiid. Kind of stayed away from him tonight. I don't know about you. I mean, I don't know. It's a weird thing with like being on the road against the Wizards. What if they blow him out in a sense?
Yeah.
Like, what could lead to a blowout? I don't know.
Right. What if he plays 27 minutes, 28 minutes, and he only needs 22 points? Exactly. I don't know. I don't foresee that happening, but you do never know with how hot this team is playing right now. We talked about Tobias. You just mentioned Joel and James. Who is your star of the game for the Sixers to come away with their 9th straight win tonight?
Interesting enough, man. It's actually going to be Tobias Harris. I'm gonna ride that wave, and I think it's his night tonight. Obviously, everybody's kind of playing out of their mind of late. Last 2 games, Tobias has struggled from the 3-point line compared to what he's done the rest of the month. So I think he gets back to that. But I think the main thing tonight, he comes out and outplays Kuzma. I mentioned I really like that matchup. I like them going at each other, and I think they're very similar. I think Tobias wins that matchup tonight and kind of propels the Sixers forward. Maybe gets hot from behind the 3-point line. I know I laid him. I know we laid 2 threes. It's the best bet. I laid 3 threes myself because I'm just feeling it like that for Tobias tonight. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Tobias.
Toby.
Yeah. He's brought some confidence this season, man. I'm buying in on this Sixers team all around, man. Honestly,
I agree with you, man. And I'm gonna stay with the hot hand. Forget the rumors. Forget the smoke that leaked on Christmas morning. I don't care about it. He's playing at an insane clip right now, scoring from threes, assists, everything. I'm going with the conductor of this offense. I'm going with James Harden as my player of the game. I think he continues to have an excellent night. I'm going to go with James Harden hitting his 3-point total mark. I think he goes for over 20. I don't think he goes for 29 or 30, but I'll say he goes for 22, 23 tonight. 3 or 4 threes. And I kind of like his assists, maybe a 23 and 10, 23 and 11 kind of night for James. On an efficient shooting total. And I got a Sixers win tonight, man. I believe you do as well. But Sixers do get their 9th straight tonight. They're playing out of their minds, to be honest.
Yeah, Sixers win 117-103. That's my guess. But yeah, I think the Sixers defense too much for the Wizards. And the Wizards actually got us out of the way of the last game. And B didn't play in that one. They ended up beating us by 10. I think that was a game Harden injured his foot. All of that. So we get to let out a little bit on the Wizards, get a little bit of retribution for that. But no, I think the defense is just too much for the Wizards tonight, regardless of if we're shooting hot. But although we've been on fire lately, so there's a strong chance that they're going to come out shooting the ball that way. But the defense will be there, 117-103.
117-103 Sixers victory tonight.
9 straight.
James Harden, Tobias Harris, your players of the game, getting to 9 straight. Best bets, Harden 3 threes, Tobias 2 threes, Melton 5 boards. Guys, that is going to wrap up this Tuesday edition of Sixers Pregame Live here on DSM Media's YouTube channel. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. Turn on notifications for all of our great shows here, and specifically the pregame shows. Eagles and Sixers rolling now. Phillies will be back in action once opening day hits. For myself, for Scotty, for DSM Media, have a great rest of your night.
Go Sixers.
And Philadelphia has it.